Brace yourself, because I am in a fantastic mood today. My kids used to say they don't know if it was worse when Dad was in a good mood or a bad mood. I'm in a very good mood. I'm positive. I'm inspired. I am reacting with joy to last night's unedited, freewheeling, 2-hour chat between two of the most remarkable men in the world, Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Did you hear it? Did you listen to it? Took a while to get in. They had technical glitches and some kind of an attack trying to stop Trump from speaking. That's going to get glossed over. Oh, nothing to see here. Just keep moving along here. Just an attempt to suppress a dialogue between these two men. But they got through it. It was about 40 minutes late. And for the next 2 hours, from about 8:40 Eastern to 10:40 Eastern, Elon Musk and Donald Trump riffed on what it's like to be nearly killed by an assassin's bullet, what condition the border is in, the economy, policy changes. It was one of the most remarkable conversations America has ever heard. And it was a throwback to the days of gathering around the radio and listening to something eventful. I was thinking a lot about why I fell in love with this industry. When I was a kid, I would listen to Larry King on the Mutual Network overnight. I have to hide under the covers so my mom wouldn't see that I was still awake. And I'd listen to Larry King, and I dreamed that someday I'd get to do that for a living. I'd get to host a caller-driven talk show. And radio used to be like that. Of course, we've got, I'm sure, plenty of people who listen and who watch us now on Salem News Channel who remember the days when you would gather around the radio and you'd listen to a presidential speech or a big concert, or, radio was and is this intimate medium that I fell in love with as a little kid in Ohio. That was what this was like last night. And I want you to stay focused today, and I want you to be positive with me. I want to be just nothing but positive. They're going to mock the interview. They're going to complain about it. They don't like the numbers. Incidentally, I just saw a post on X between 7:47 p.m. and 10:47 p.m. Eastern Time. Trump's space post received 73 million views. During the same period, there were 4 million posts about Elon Musk and Trump's conversation on X, generating a total of, are you ready for this? 998 million views. And there will be more to come. There'll be a lot more to come because people are going to see it on the platform over and over and over again. The world knows Kamala Harris wouldn't be capable of that kind of conversation. In fact, Elon Musk invited her. While she's making fun of the interview, and while her campaign is trashing it and accusing Elon Musk of being a Trump puppet and a Trump stooge, he invited her to do the same thing. But she's not giving interviews because they're terrified that as America gets to know her in that setting, they're going to flee from her and they're going to run into the arms of Donald Trump. It was, let me do what we always do in moments like these. We're going to turn it over to you, 800-655-MIKE. We got Will in place to screen your calls. Tracy's at the board getting ready to produce the show. Eric's flying the plane. Christian's pushing the buttons, and we are ready to dive into this because Elon Musk said one thing in this chat last night that should have been the biggest headline in the country. And it's not a long clip. It's 41 seconds. If you hear one thing from last night and this epic conversation between Donald Trump and Elon Musk, I want you to hear this.
Like, you are the path to prosperity, and I think Kamala is the opposite. Then that's my honest opinion. I'm gonna get attacked like crazy, and I've also experienced quite a bit of lawfare myself. But I'm just trying to tell people my honest opinion, and I haven't been really active in politics before, and I'm just trying to point out that my track record historically is been moderate, if not moderate, slightly left. So this is to people out there who are in the moderate camp to say, I think you should support Donald Trump for president. I think it's actually a very important junction in the road, and we're in deep trouble if it goes the other way.
Now, you might not like the guy. If you're on the left, you used to like him. AOC liked him so much she bought a Tesla. But when he opened up this platform, when he bought X, when he bought Twitter, and let people actually speak, not censoring voices, not shutting people down, doing what the internet was, I was always told, was supposed to always do, they began to hate him. After Trump was shot in Butler, Pennsylvania, Elon Musk shared, he decided to endorse Donald Trump. He said American leadership should be strong and should be brave. And to watch what Trump did when blood was pouring down the side of his face, when he stood up and raised his fist in the air, that was when Elon Musk decided to formally endorse Donald Trump for president. He's not alone. There's a lot of people who probably aren't even registered Republicans who had the same experience, who had the same journey. Stay positive. Recognize that they're going to criticize, like the kids say, haters going to hate. The Never Trumpers are going to mock it. The Harris campaign is desperately trying to keep her in the bubble, keep her from giving an interview. They know she wouldn't dare sit down for 2 hours with Elon Musk. She can't. She would be incapable. She would be exposed for who she really is. Same thing for this stolen valor vice presidential running mate she has. Look, there is no question that Kamala is enjoying a honeymoon period here in August. This was a great, epic event that changes the direction entirely. She's still going to get a bump. They're going to have their convention next week. It's probably going to go well for them. But then they got to get through September, and then they got to get through October, and then they got to get through the first week of November. And we're going to win. We're going to get this country back. So I've got a whole bank of phone callers who are enthusiastic. They were inspired by the conversation last night that they heard on X. But I've got Ron from Pittsburgh who is claiming that the Trump campaign is flailing right now. Now, I want to talk to Ron because I'm in such a good mood. In fact, this is a rare moment. Hey, Ron, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing well, Mike. Thank you. How are you?
I'm great. I want to start. Let's do some ground rules here. Obviously, I can tell from your topic that you're claiming that the Trump campaign is flailing. You don't want him to win. I get it. You know I want him to win. You get it. Let's have a dialogue. Let's have a back and forth. You present why you think after last night's 2-hour interview with Elon Musk that somehow the campaign is flailing. Present your point of view. Let me respond. But understand, I hold no animosity for you right now. I'm in such a great place right now. I am feeling so positive and so optimistic and so inspired after last night that even you can't get under my skin. So let's just start with that, okay? I promise you, I'll give you all the time you want. Let's not yell at each other. Let's not interrupt each other. You go ahead and make your argument for why you feel that the Trump campaign is flailing. I'll respond, and let's have a real good dialogue, okay? Is that fair enough?
It's fair, Mike, but we'll start with a bit of a correction. That actually wasn't my topic. I think the intake guy may have misinterpreted.
Oh.
What I was trying to say was I've been hoping to get in on this conversation since Friday.
Okay.
If you recall, you had a caller, a lady, I believe her name was Nancy, but I may be mistaken about that.
Okay.
And it was a good call, very heated, very spirited call. And that kind of carried over into yesterday where the discussion was more or less, is this campaign flailing? Yes or no? And, if we speak out about it, are we being disloyal to Trump? Now, I voted for Trump in 16, 20, and I'm certainly going to vote for him again this year. I love the guy. But I don't think it's wrong to say that mistakes are being made, and he only has 60 days to turn it around because August is a wash.
Sure.
The convention's coming up. There's going to be an even bigger boost to her poll numbers.
I agree.
You're looking.
But to be clear here, you don't believe the campaign is flailing and that it's.
I believe it is flailing.
Oh, it is. So you do believe the campaign is flailing.
I do believe it is, but I'm certainly a diehard loyal Trump guy. I just want him.
Well, you don't need to keep giving your bona fides. You don't need to keep qualifying yourself. Why do you give me some examples of the campaign, especially after last night? Did you hear the X interview?
Bits and pieces. I had some errands to run in the evening, so I was only able to catch on.
Maybe you'd have a different perspective, but particularly coming after the 2-hour epic night where hundreds of millions of people are going to wind up seeing this hearing this interview. Give me some examples of why you feel the Trump campaign is flailing.
I'll give two, Mike. So one was the Olympics. So I didn't watch 24/7, but I watched a decent amount when I could. Every single time I turned on, I saw a Kamala Harris commercial. I don't recall seeing one from Donald Trump.
All right, so you don't think the Trump campaign is spending enough campaign money, or taking out TV ads on the Olympics? Give me another example of the Trump campaign flailing.
So I'm a big music fan. I love music, and I think one of the best ways to listen to music is through YouTube. You can find rare songs. You can find great covers to great songs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go on to YouTube just for music purposes. I don't have an account that allows me to skip past commercials.
Okay, come on.
Yeah. Every single day I go on to YouTube, I come across again the Kamala Harris advertisement.
Uh-huh.
I haven't.
So your general beef is you're seeing more Kamala Harris ads than you are Donald Trump ads, which may or may not have merit. But with all due respect, to come to the conclusion that the Trump campaign is flailing, let's do a little reality check. Do you think Kamala Harris could sit down for 2 hours with a guy like Elon Musk with hundreds of millions of people listening the way Trump did last night?
Absolutely not. But the thing is, Mike, she's never going to.
But that isn't the point. The point is to claim that the Trump campaign is flailing is wildly inaccurate. Now, again, maybe you're a Trump guy. Maybe you're pretending to be a Trump guy. It doesn't matter to me. It's okay. There's going to be negativity. There's going to be people that don't want him to win. There are going to be people that are going to, and they're going to make mistakes. There's no question about it. People can sit around and pick apart what he says and how he says it. That's fine. He's not going to change. He's not going to be what you want him to be. And we got a long way to go between November the 5th. They've got hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars to spend. So I would end by asking you, if you saw more Trump TV commercials, then you'd change your mind about the Trump campaign?
If I saw a stop to the slide in the polls, I would start to see if he changed his strategy a little bit.
Which strategy? Which strategy? Like not sitting down with Elon Musk for 2 hours and reaching a whole bunch of young people and change? What strategy?
The media strategy, the advertising.
So if you saw him, like I said, so you understand, you're saying if you saw more ads, you'd believe that the Trump campaign isn't flailing.
I believe that it would be at least trying.
Got it. You don't think they're trying to win? You don't think they're trying right now?
It's a strange strategy, Mike.
Strange strategy. You know what's strange is your conclusion. But thank you, Ron. I appreciate the call, and I think we did pretty well to have a nice exchange. Now let's get back to some normal calls. 800-655-MIKE. Remember something. These strategists are looking at targeting swing states. They're looking at being very, very judicious with how they spend their campaign dollars. In fact, Sharon from Lake Kiowee said that. Mike, Trump is running ads in the swing states right now. I saw this mentioned yesterday. They're spending over $100 million in ads that are going to swing states. The caller may be in a state that isn't showing the ads. Well, either that or what the caller doesn't realize is things like registration nationwide. Here's some statistics I want to share with Ron and anybody who thinks that the Trump ground game isn't working. Look at these numbers. These were posted online yesterday. Nationwide voter registration. And let's look at states, important states. For example, California. You know, maybe a lost cause, be a lot of voters there, right? Plus 94,000 Republican voter registrations, right? Democrats, minus 43,000. Still going to be a Democrat state, but this effort could help with the popular vote. How about North Carolina? North Carolina, plus 6,294 Republican voter registrations, minus 722 Democrat registrations. North Carolina is moving deep, deep red. Don't let them kid you. Pennsylvania, which is where Ron was calling from, where he claims that the Trump campaign is flailing by not running enough ads. You know what's happening in Pennsylvania? Again, voter registrations, new voter registrations, this is in July, plus 21,325 Republicans. Democrats, only 5,788. 4-1 in Pennsylvania. The Trump ground game is killing it. They've got a machine that is very impressive. Now, Ron can sit on the couch and say, I think there should be more ads. I know for a fact that the Trump campaign has a whole lot of smart people, an army of people who know what they're doing. Incidentally, the Kamala Harris campaign does too. Got to give them credit. They managed the coup of the century. They pushed Joe Biden out. He admitted it. I can't wait to hear what he's going to say Monday at the convention in Chicago. They pushed me out, led by Nancy Pelosi. They stabbed me in the back. They dragged me kicking and screaming out of this race. And here I am saying, I love Kamala. The whole thing is a charade. This is all a joke. This is why I can't even be negative about people like Ron. So be it. People don't want Trump to win. People are rooting against him. It's okay. And you can criticize Trump for what? It's okay. It's not going to matter. What's going to matter is what the American people decide to do in the November election. Devin is in Orlando, Florida. Did you listen to the X interview with Elon Musk and Trump last night, Devin?
Yes, I did, Mike. You're a titan in your own right, and when it's all said and done, you're going to be remembered for a long time, buddy.
Thank you.
And just with the last caller from Pennsylvania, thank you for hitting on the point of the strategic advertising. There's going to be a blitz in a couple of months, no worry, everywhere. But the strategic advertising in certain states and cities and local broadcasting stations is there. We know where we're up at. I mean, I was looking at the comments from the Kamala Harris campaign. They're talking about grumpy old men talking about lost issues. So saving America and getting a solution for what's broken and trying to fix is lost issues. Okay, I don't want to hear that. And then if she wants to put out a thing about Ron DeSantis' glitches and want to poke fun at Trump about his glitches.
Right.
Ron DeSantis got 600,000 views on that. Probably wasn't going to break 1 million. A blind and deaf man could have told Ron DeSantis to stay out of this race. Okay, we see what happened to his campaign. Trump was right. His campaign was terrible. It was going to fail. I love Ron DeSantis. He's a great governor, but it was just not your time.
Well, it was probably not his time, but 2028 may be. Who knows? He's not going anywhere. Very successful guy, tremendous governor, as opposed to Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, who is a disaster. And one of the talking points that Trump will – and remember something here with this honeymoon period. And they're going to get a bump next week with the convention. And then September hits Kamala Harris squarely. She's going to deal with a debate on September the 10th. And what a glorious night that's going to be. And you want to talk about a complete changed narrative? It will change dramatically because she's going to have to defend the way she supported bailing out rioters and criminals from jail. She's going to have to defend her running mate's track record in Minnesota. Are you hearing all the people coming out of the woodwork? Sheriffs and cops and business owners saying it was Tim Walz who gave the green light to the destruction, the damage, the criminality of what happened in Minnesota after George Floyd. Somebody told me the other day they still have the autonomous zone around the area where George Floyd died. They still have it. That's still overrun by the miscreants who say this is our area. Cops aren't allowed. To this day, that's Tim Walz's Minnesota. And here was what Elon said in his conversation last night with Trump about the Democrats' penchant for springing bad guys from jail.
You can't have violent, repeat violent offenders that are not that don't get incarcerated.
That's right.
Because they will obviously, by definition, continue to hurt people. And I think where part of this comes from is that there's and I do sort of consider myself liberal in some ways. I mean, it's just that you want to have empathy for
Right.
people. Obviously, you want to have empathy for people. I totally agree with that. You want to have empathy, but you also have to have empathy for the victims of the criminals. And if you just have empathy for the criminals, it's actually shallow empathy. It's not real. You're not thinking. You're one layer deep empathy. You got to say, like, what if you don't incarcerate this person? Who are they going to hurt? Who are they might kill someone. They might rape someone. If you don't incarcerate them, you have to have empathy for the victims. And there's a lack of empathy for the victims of the criminals, and too much empathy for the criminals. It doesn't make sense. That's why you want to have deep empathy for society as a whole, not shallow empathy for criminals.
Right. Now, for leftists, that's like holy water on a vampire. They hate hearing stuff like that. They hate being reminded of how Democrats, their track record with crime. In fact, here's a police sergeant from Minneapolis. This was on X last night as well. This is a little bit of a flashback. A guy who pointed out, this is a police sergeant. This is a bitter, grim reminder of how Governor Tim Walz actually gave the order to let rioters burn the Minneapolis Police Department 3rd Precinct.
Police officers testified at the Minnesota Senate today. The officers are all board members for the Minneapolis Police Federation. And as Esme Murphy reports, they offered up a scathing critique of government and police leaders during the riots following George Floyd's death.
That's not what we stand for.
Her voice shaking, Minneapolis Police Sergeant Anna Hedberg says during the riots, officers were abandoned by state, city, and department leaders.
To watch them go through that was so heartbreaking. To know that they could have died because we were not allowed to respond the way that we have been trained to respond.
During the riots, the officers were told they could not wear protective frog suits, but were still hit and injured with bottles, cement, and more. Sergeant Hedberg blamed state, city, and department leaders for the abandonment of the 3rd Precinct.
I heard the governor say, "Give it up." It wasn't directly to me, it was through a phone call. How the governor says, "Give up the precinct." I mean, that's demoralizing for this whole state.
And the three described a demoralized police force with dozens of officers planning to retire or quit.
I believe I speak for every Minneapolis cop when I tell you that I've never been more publicly humiliated.
They also described a city out of control.
The crime is rampant.
That's just a news report in deep blue Minnesota. That's just that's a story, that's a flashback to the reality on the ground. Again, progressives don't want you to hear that. Leftists who are pretending that Kamala Harris is the second coming, they don't want you to hear that. That's who Tim Walz is. Give it up. Let the bad guys burn the precinct to the ground. That's the guy you want to be the heartbeat away from the presidency? Give me a break. It's never going to happen. 15 before the hour, 800-655-MIKE, 800-655-6453. Join us.